Hey, MousePlanet, it's Alan Delinka. I am back with you with show number 2. And show number 2's got a whole bunch of stuff in store. I've got a new graphic that's not covering my face, but we've got a whole host of special guests, and I'm going to get right to them because this isn't just a MousePlanet Live, but I got to add the MousePlanet Live button. There we go. There's the MousePlanet Live button. We've got MousePlanet Live plus BigFatPanda. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be. We got the Mike Wazowski thing happening on this side of the screen today. And I'm going to bring up Mr. BigFatPanda himself, John Sakari. John, how's it going?
I feel like Mike Wazowski.
So let me drop the banner off the screen.
There's
let me
some
put the little
great
bug of
people in
screen.
that green room. My gosh.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I only wish I could have 10 people on the screen at a time because we've got some really great folks on there.
I fanboyed just a little bit.
So for folks who don't know, John is one of the many other local Orlando social media types who I've gotten the privilege of knowing because I go to these events and we all get to see these things together when the fine folks at Disney invite us along. John's had me on his show, so we're returning the favor. And John, go ahead and say hi.
And hello everybody. And usually I can look over at Alan and read his eyes, and we kind of agree on things. When things go haywire, we look at each other like, did they just really say that? So it's kind of funny.
Let me put up, because there were a few people I wanted to have on who don't have the bandwidth to live stream with us, because again, we have the privilege of getting to know a lot of folks. And if I can get the screen to do what I need it to do, I'm going to share some greetings from some other social media friends who have sent me little clips of hello. And in future weeks, we'll have even more on. But let's start off with this little clip here. Oh, let me try that again. Hang on.
I can speak for them and throw words in their mouth. Hi, I'm sick.
No. I can get audio in there. I just, again, producing and hosting this show at the same time is a little bit more challenging than you'd think.
It feels like the guy with the dishes and the sticks. And
I just got to click a couple of things real quick. And if I click the share audio button and I hit share, and it's not that share, and then I hit play over here, we should hear them.
Hey, I'm Ted.
All right.
Put it louder.
That I can't control.
Well, Alan, we miss you, and hello, MousePlanet. We miss seeing you in the parks. We can't wait to get there again. Right now, we are keeping busy getting our Disney fix, just watching lots of Disney movies on Disney Plus. We are making sure we're staying on top of all the news. And of course, we are busy writing articles, helping folks plan their next vacation, and living vicariously a little bit. So, hope that you are all staying healthy. Remember, wash your hands, don't touch your face, do not touch other people's face either, and hopefully we'll see you at the parks. If you see us there, say hi, have a safe and happy quarantine.
Well, that gave you a little preview of who's next, but whoops.
They're on my top 10 people list.
They are actually great folks, and it's always great to get to know the other folks. I've got another thing that I'm going to queue up here because I'm going to bring in our next guest in a moment, but there's one thing that has to herald in our next guest, and I think he'll recognize the sound when he hears it in the green room. So let me queue up share the audio on that, and we will get it going. Come on, cooperate. There are just so many things to click on here. All right, so I'm going to hit share, and this is my friend from the Gary Meyer podcast. And that is how our friend Gary Meyer, who I'm now going to add into the stream and take off his screen. That is how Gary Meyer introduces the start of his show. Welcome, Gary Meyer. Welcome to the MousePlanet /BigFatPanda show.
Alan, how are you? I didn't hear anything when you played whatever you played.
Oh no, darn.
Was I supposed to hear something?
Yeah, you should have heard the horn from the beginning of your show.
Okay, well, I just wanted to let you know. That horn, which we didn't hear, is the horn from the movie War of the Worlds. And I've been using that horn to start the show for at least 10, 11 years. And as it turns out, I was ahead of my time because I have decided, and I wrote a blog on this recently, I overlapped the War of the Worlds theme with the pandemic. At least the aliens had the courtesy to blow a horn before they vaporized us. COVID, no warning. And all of a sudden you're on a ventilator.
Let's
Not nice.
Let's see if I can get it to work this time.
Let it go for a second.
Anything?
Nothing.
Did it come through?
Sometimes it takes about 10, 15 seconds.
No, I also have to click all the right buttons on this end. So this is what we call user error.
Does it sound like the purge alarm?
Let me try one more.
Somebody mentioned that to me and said you might want to use the purge alarm too, and I incorporated the purge in one of my shows recently too. I'm just trying to warn people to run when they hear any of these sounds.
All right, one more time. Let's give this a try.
Let it just sit there for a second.
Just a second here. No.
There's the rest of today's opening.
It's a
Did you
very
hear it that time,
ominous
Gary?
yes.
Yes, I did.
All right, I hit all the right buttons that time. So for those who don't know, Gary is a National Radio Hall of Fame inductee who I knew as a personality in Chicago growing up. I actually lived in the same building that Gary lived in during a time that I didn't listen to Gary, and all I would do is nod hello and say hello in the elevator, and that is it. And then years later, Gary was on a station I was listening to, and I started listening to his show regularly. Then Gary was off that station and on the web, and then Gary was off the web. And then Gary and I met through email because I was emailing his podcast regularly. And now I do Gary's show when we get around to it.
He does. Ellen does a Disney report about every 6-7 weeks or so. And we've been doing that for several years now. And It's a nice addition to the program.
And it's fun because Gary doesn't cover politics. I steer clear of politics, which is why I'm writing for a Disney fan site. I'm wearing a Disney shirt. I have a background that has nothing to do with that sort of thing. And so Gary and I are a perfect pairing for that sort of thing. And Gary, what you don't know is that John, Panda, is one of our local celebs. He's on our Fox 35 all the time, except for that one time he wasn't around and the Fox 35 guy grabbed me and put me on the air instead. But John does Disney reports for our local Fox affiliate, and basically he does everybody's show, and we all do John's show as well.
And I'm glad that I found Gary through you because I'm mostly a Disney nut. So I wouldn't have found him had it not been for Alan. So,
and it's just as it's spelled on the screen. It's Gary with 2 R's, MEIER.com. Gary's show isn't always safe for the office, but hey, nobody's in the office right now, so listen away, right?
Well, I think overall it's not going to disturb that many people. I just talk about, and you mentioned this, Ellen, I don't do any politics. It's not because of what's been going on the last 4 years. I never did politics. I didn't find it entertaining. I always did find it really disgusting. And I never went towards that. That wasn't my wheelhouse. I cover all the other nonsense that's on the planet, and there's plenty of that to cover. So that's my beat.
And there is. And let me bring on somebody who's brought us much joy around Orlando over the years. I'm going to bring up Steve Pernik. Steve, there's your heads up as I hit the add you to the stream button. Steve, welcome. Steve Pernik is a longtime Orlando area performer. Say hi, Steve.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. I mean, this is the top names in Disney blogging right here.
and I got more on cue, and we're going to have more in future weeks because, I think using this platform to bring us back together, however we can be brought back together right now is a great thing. And it's certainly great to see you, even if it's just by video, Steve.
Yay. Well, do you need me to tell people a little bit about myself in case they
Please,
don't know me?
please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
I started as a Disney performer in 1991 at Pleasure Island at the Comedy Warehouse, and I was there for most of the 90s. Took a break, went to Los Angeles for a little while, and then came back. I've been full-time in the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular as part of the Citizens of Hollywood. I was one of the truck guys at Hollywood Public Works, and I opened the Frozen Sing-Along show here at Walt Disney World and did that for 4 years. And I've subbed in tons of other things. Look, this hat that I'm wearing is actually, well, someone who looks a lot like me might have been wearing this hat in a show. Does anybody know what hat this is, or what character?
Well, wait. Let me bring on a few more of our folks, so maybe somebody else can chime in. I'm going to bring in my chief operating officer, Mark Goldhaber. Mark, are you there? I see Mark.
Yeah, I'm here. Hey.
And let me bring on my West Coast colleague, Todd Pickering. Although Todd, you know what? Todd doesn't come to Disney World. Todd, I'm leaving you in the green room. I'm going to bring on Todd King because Todd has been to Disney World.
Yes, several times, but not as much as I want.
Because I can get 6 of us on the screen at once with this platform. Anybody have any thoughts on Steve's hat?
I want to say Kungaloosh, maybe.
I can give it away. You ready?
Yep.
This is Morris Mulch.
Remember
Mulch, Sweat, and Shears.
Yeah.
Who's
Gary,
Morris Mulch?
it was a rock band based on Mulch. God, I'm just going to say the wrong name. Say the right name for me, please, Steve. Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Mulch,
That's
Sweat, and Shears.
Yeah, there we go.
Based on Blood, Sweat, and Tears, obviously, and they had a landscaping truck. They were like the landscapers of the studios, but suddenly they would drop the stage and play kick-ass rock music.
Yeah.
And Gary knows a little bit about
Jim Doyle in ages either. How's Jim doing?
Jim Doyle, he's doing great.
Awesome.
And Gary knows a bit about music. He's got a place of his own that I've seen in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I do?
Yeah, you do. It's in a room that pays tribute to that event that you like to play down at the park.
This was many years ago, Alan, and if you're not familiar with it, it wouldn't surprise me because of that length of time in between. In 1979, my partner and I went out to White Sox Park to do this event between a double header where people would bring disco records because we were anti-disco. And we took all the records between the double header and blew them up in center field. And while we left the field, our fans ran down on the field and started throwing the remnants of the records around, and there was a fire, and they had to forfeit the second game. So we have some kind of notoriety in that, and yeah, it happens.
So let me, I think I lost somebody there. I'm not
Steve.
sure who. Oh, I lost Steve. I'm going to bring Steve back on the screen. Gary, I'm going to put you,
with the right hat and glasses, I could try to be Steve just a little bit.
Well, especially now that Steve has the beard.
Right? If I get rid of my Just for Men a little bit, I can do it.
All right, Todd, let me put you in the green room, bring Chris Berry on. Chris was on our last stream as well. Chris, welcome into the stream.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? Looking good. Good to see you.
Hi, Chris.
So, Chris, tell folks where in the country you are, because not everybody knows that.
Oh, I'm on Long Island in New York, just about 40 minutes outside of the city. So,
and John's got connections that way.
I grew up in Franklin Square.
And
is
Steve,
that right? So you are
Steve, were you
nearby.
connected out that way too?
I spent most of my growing up in Dix Hills.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
and Steve Pernik as well.
North Jersey for me, but I had a lot of family out on the island.
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do now to be nice to Todd Pickering, who's not looking at the camera. Todd, Earth to Todd, come back. I'm going to put Todd on the screen. I'm going to drop myself out while I go get a drink of water, and we'll let Todd chat with everyone. So I'm going to drop.
And which hat does Todd? Oh, Todd's wearing a.
Listen, I'm not an ear person. I want those. Those are awesome mouse ears.
Well, thank you very much. These were from D23 last year. These are shag. I'm a huge fan. And last week I wore a bunch of ears, but this hair is completely out of control. So I can't wait to see what happens when I take these off.
You know what this looks like?
We should. Sorry, go ahead.
This looks like Hollywood Squares on acid right now.
The Brady Bunch.
I was going to say this is the Brady Bunch. I got to look at everybody.
Yes, pick one.
You got to look the
Look in the right direction, though.
So what's everybody doing to? Somebody started talking about it. What's everyone? Chris, what are you doing to get your Disney fix?
Oh, I started watching the animated films from Snow White on. So
Where are you?
I'm watching them in order. I hit the first 5, the pre-war films, the golden age. So not too bad. I'm going to put that in my top 5 column, which is actually overdue at the moment. I'm sure my editor is really mad at me right now.
Oh yeah, we won't talk about that, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, because it's hard writing entertainment. So what are your what? Here's the question for everybody. What was the and we'll start with you. What was your first Disney movie as a kid?
As a kid?
Yeah.
Wow. I remember the 70s Disney films at the drive-in in Rocky Point during my summers on Long Island. Kind of vividly, they would have these double features, and usually it was a double Disney movie. And I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I have these images always in my head of the Sword and the Stone, and of Robin Hood, and of the Aristocats. So it was somewhere around there, but it was definitely at the drive-in in Rocky Point. With a whole group of friends in the back of the car, youngin' that I was. So
sounds good, Steve.
And you're asking a Disney memory of movies?
The first one, the earliest memory.
Probably back in the 1960s is how old I am. Radio City Music Hall still was a movie theater, and I saw Mary Poppins at Radio City Music Hall.
That's amazing,
right?
Mark.
First one I remember seeing was 101 Dalmatians at a drive-in with my next door neighbor and his family. We were all piled into the back of the station wagon. I don't remember all that much about it that clearly, other than all the insanity in the back of the station wagon.
Well, it's funny that you had mentioned. It was Steve who mentioned Mary Poppins at Radio City. I know, I'm back. I dropped Todd back in the green room. I can do that sort of thing. Sorry, Todd. He's shaking his head at me.
He has the power.
It's great. And Chris, let me swap you out for Todd so that Todd King can get back on the screen here. Let's see. We'll take Chris out. Put Todd back in. When you talk about Mary Poppins in a big theater, as a kid, one of my earliest memories of Mary Poppins in a big theater, the Chicago International Amphitheater. You remember that place, Gary?
Yes.
The Chicago International Amphitheater had a live show where Mary Poppins actually flew out of the screen. So it was interactive between the film, where they would show clips of the film, and Mary Poppins flying out in the screen over the audience and then back. And that's really all I remember. I was probably 6.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
We don't get the joy of the El Capitan and the shows that they put on before the movies at the El Cap, but the West Coasters do, right, guys?
Yeah, let me. I'll wait. I'll dump myself back out and put Todd Pickering back up. Hang on. That's the problem with a 6-person.
Well, I started some, didn't I? The El Capitan is one of my favorites. I cover it a lot for MousePlanet, and they've been really, really good to me. All of you folks in the Los Angeles area, if you have not been, you are missing out. The shows, who was talking about the show? Steve, that's right, was talking about them. They are amazing. There, I got the Panda out of my way. And the Wurlitzer organ, if you can catch that concert, go early if you go to El Capitan. That's the Fox organ from the Fox Theater in San Francisco. They bought it, and it's gorgeous. You can walk up on the stage and see the little foxes on the side, so I highly recommend it. Am I still in charge? I want to say, my first was Pinocchio, and it was so dramatic.
That's me.
Yeah, that movie was so scary, and I was scared to death and wanted to leave, but I was afraid my mom would never take me to another movie again.
The donkeys, right? To turn into a donkey.
The donkeys were so
petrifying.
dramatic, but I'm like, this is awesome, and I want to be part of it. Yes.
But the blue fairy bending over and making him a real boy, that vividly, and I was born in 71, so I don't know what year it was, but I might have been 3 or 4, and I just saw it on, maybe they put it on the TV or something, I don't know.
Well, but we're pre VCR days, so VCR, that's all, nobody knows what that is. But the movies would just keep being released, so it didn't really matter. I was just at the right age. That was the one that came out. My sister's was Bambi, and we didn't make it through that one.
Kids today don't know. If you wanted to watch Wizard of Oz, you had to wait till it was on TV.
Let me throw one out at you.
Yes.
Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I remember as a little kid and just blew me away.
Yeah, I look forward to coming to Disney World to seeing the Swiss Family Treehouse. I love the Tarzan's Treehouse, but here we go.
I was going to say, sorry, Todd King, I can't comment if I'm not back in the show. the cool thing, of course, here in Florida is we have the last of the old Swiss Family Robinson tree houses to get inside and walk through. And it provides some great views of Magic Kingdom. And it has a lot of great throwbacks to the movie as well.
A lot of people skip
I know
that.
Gary, I know you've been down to Disney World. Do you think you've ever made it up to the treehouse?
I can't remember. We went down in December one year, and there was a cold spell, and I wasn't expecting that. But what really impressed me, and I know they don't have this anymore, we've talked about this on my program, that the lights at the MGM Street, is that what I'm remembering correctly?
It's now the America, and now it's gone because it's the entrance to the Star Wars land. But yeah.
Yeah, they had that street lit up. They got these lights from this family, I believe in Kansas. That
The Osbournes.
it was out of
Osborne
Kansas.
family.
Was that where they were from? They had
Arkansas, I think.
Yeah, 4 million lights or something, and they couldn't light it anymore because it was too disturbing to the neighborhood. And Disney got them and set them up, and it was great evening to walk through that.
Yeah, and the
It was
Osborne
quite a draw
light.
every Christmas.
It really was, and all it gets is a tiny, tiny little momentary tribute in the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam show, where a couple of things light up the way the Osborne lights did. That was the little tribute they threw into that.
I was lucky enough to be there the last night of the Osborne lights, and briefly got to chat with John Fallon, who's the guy behind them, that night, and thank him for all the time that they spent working on them and keeping them running. And it was kind of bittersweet.
We only have a few minutes left. Let me see if I can put up this other hello I got, and then I'll try and rearrange everybody on the screen again.
I feel like Alan invited a lot of people and didn't expect everyone to say yes.
Well, the way
I didn't expect to make it.
Is exactly, everybody's like tentative. So it's like, all right, let's try to get everybody on.
Where else are we going to go, Alan?
Exactly. Well,
come on.
He says, "Are you available?"
Yeah, right.
There are other competing shows. Let me put on this other greeting I've got over here in this window here. And
I turned down
there
Fallon.
we go. Oh no.
Steve.
Hey everyone, my name is Paula. I am senior writer at Disney Dining, and I am also the owner of DisneyOver50.com. I am coming to you from my backyard in Osceola County, where we are following CDC guidelines and we are doing our best to flatten the curve. I want to thank you for your support over the years. Hope you're still checking out both sites because we're adding new information all the time. And we look forward to the day that we can actually be back in the parks once again, because it's hard being this close and not being able to go. Until then, stay home, stay safe, stop touching your face. May the force be with you, and see you real soon. Bye.
So Paula's another one of the folks who we've gotten to know over the years, and I've trying to get everybody back on the screen. There we go.
I wanted to grab the logo.
So it's great to try to have these reunions this way, since we can't have the reunions any other way right now.
Alan, just so you know, Steve lost audio.
Steve has lost audio, but can Steve hear us?
I've lost audio.
Todd,
I saw you.
I saw Todd
Anybody hearing
almost touch his face. Todd, your hand has to be 6 feet away from your face. All right?
No, I was touching the panda.
Yeah. Okay. That's too close.
Oh no,
I watched it before.
All right, John. John, put your where there it is. Put your hand up, John.
Oh.
There we go.
Can you hear
Hi,
Gary?
elbow me.
I've lost audio.
Hi, elbow me.
All right, Steve. Since you can't hear everybody else, I want to thank you for joining. I'm going to drop you
So
out.
sorry, guys.
We'll try to have a longer show next time, and we'll have Steve on longer next time. Steve has already dropped out.
Yeah, we got to do this again. This is a lot of fun.
This is a lot of fun.
We need at least an hour for this group.
Let me bring Chris Berry back on the screen.
Hey.
Welcome back, Chris. Todd, I'm going to take you back out so I can put the other Todd back on so you can have a sip of that cocktail.
The other Todd.
So I've been waiting in this other window to see if Carol Stein's show is going to start. The Orlando Sentinel did a really nice piece on Carol this week.
Yep.
And if you have access to the Orlando Sentinel, it's definitely something you'll want to look at. It pays tribute to. I mean, she's one of Orlando's treasures. And when you're out with Carol, and she was on our last show, when you're out with Carol, people go, "Oh my God, it's Carol Stein!" I mean, it's the greatest thing.
She was a lot of fun last week. You know, her
And-
you know, all you had to do was make any kind of reference, and all of a sudden she's on the piano with the music that fit the reference. It was great. So, good stuff.
And I don't see her coming up just yet. So let me double
Borrowed
check.
time. Hey,
Who-
Gary.
Who is she? Can you tell me who she is, what she does?
Carol Stein is a musician who plays at the Rosencrown Pub here at Epcot. Before that, she also was the main pianist at the Comedy Warehouse where Steve Pernik had performed. And she is just an about-town character. Carol has performances at a place that's on the north end of the Orlando area called Blue Bamboo, where she does about once a month concerts. And Carol has done concerts all over town with various musical groups. She's a pianist, has been playing piano, I think, if I recall her storytelling, from age 3, and she's quite talented at it. Oh, and Steve chimed back in. Let me drop. Let's see, who am I going to drop out? Somebody raise your hand. Nobody raised their hand. Chris Mary, I'm dropping you out. I'll put Steve Pernik back on the screen. Steve, Gary was asking while you were out. You got your audio
Yes.
back? Awesome.
Yeah,
Gary
I do.
was
I can
asking
hear
about
everybody.
Gary was asking about Carol, and you performed with Carol many times. Why don't you talk about performing with Carol Stein?
I'm eating the panda. Hold on.
I feel like Steve is in an aquarium and he's like a fish.
I'm
6 feet away.
hungry for panda, quality panda. Yeah, I've worked with Carol Stein since 1992, I guess. We go back a long time. We've done tons and tons of shows together, inside and outside of Disney. I even, at her wedding, the entertainment was a big wedding cabaret that I hosted with Mary Thompson Hunt. It was great fun.
And Mary's somebody we tried to have on last time. I had reached out to Mary today and never managed to connect. But given how full the green room is still, it's probably for the best.
It's kind of like when I managed to get down to Disney World right before the quarantine started, and I went to Magic Kingdom almost specifically to try to catch Mary on Main Street, and it turned out she had the day off. I just keep missing her. Yeah.
Well, and the great thing
Love
about
Mary.
Carol is Carol has Mary's schedule's harder to predict, but Carol has a website, carolstein.com. And so if you wanted to know if Carol was scheduled to be playing at the pub, you could go to carolstein.com. It's right on her calendar. It says what her show times are. She used to do that with Comedy Warehouse, so you always knew which night to show up if you wanted to see Carol. Right now, I'm not getting her on Facebook, so I guess she's not yet hooked in. All I see is her post from a couple hours
She's
ago.
doing a live show tonight, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna feed Carol's live show right after this, and we're just gonna leave this up and running because now last time we did a show last week, I had audience members who said more Carol, more Carol. And when Carol had announced that she was doing a show tonight, I said to Carol, can we just live stream your show? And she said, yeah. So I said, awesome. So that's why we did a half an hour tonight. I didn't want to back this up too much earlier than 7:30 for the folks on the West Coast. I mean, I'm going to drop Todd King out for a second and tease Todd Pickering again. I'm going to tease Todd Pickering because, I mean, out there on the West Coast, you guys are just now hitting 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. That's a little early for a cocktail hour, but you know.
And so that's
I
not
think
stopping
in
you.
quarantine, those rules went out the window.
Yeah. Todd, hey, Todd, try noon.
Yeah,
We moved it up to noon.
I'll drink to that, Gary.
These are tough times, Todd. There are no rules, no judging.
Well, I do 5 o'clock cocktail hour with, somebody on East Coast time, somebody on Central Coast time, somebody
Oh, no. I've got Carol on the screen next to me, and I'm going to bring her on, but
Great.
she's sideways. I don't know what to do with Carol sideways. She's run these sideways shows before.
You mean she's been drinking too, Alan? Is that what you're saying?
Not just her.
How did Steve
I
solve
believe
his
her camera,
sideways?
too. I believe her camera, too. And this is the problem because, let's see if I get it on the screen here. She won't be able to hear us, but we should be able to hear her.
Oh, she does. Yeah, I don't think she knows.
I don't think
So sit back.
Yay!
Your choice.
Just turn your computer on its side.
I'm sideways.
She's anti-gravity.
She does know.
Somebody just told Carol she's
she's
sideways. She's logging off, so we can stay on and chat some more. I'm going to drop out for a minute and let the one person who's in the green room back in. And let's see.
Yeah, hey.
Hey,
I'm back.
Chris.
Hey.
All right, here I am.
Woo.
Chris Berry.
I have to say, Gary, I have vivid memories. My brother is about 8 years older than me, and he was, playing rock and roll upstairs with his guitar every freaking day around that time. He had his Death Before Disco shirt, and I remember you guys burning those records. I can't believe I'm actually looking up at the guy that burnt those records. That was a huge thing for us rock heads in the 70s. My God.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, and it just organically happened. We just were doing this deal every day where we broke a disco record on the air, and then we go to clubs, and 500 people showed up to the first one, the next one 2,000, then 5,000, and then the White Sox said, hey, why don't we embed this? It was called Teen Night,
Right.
and they decided to do that promotion between the doubleheader, and that's when 50,000 showed up.
What year was this that you declared war on?
1979. I was 3 years old. And yeah, my dad dropped me off for the promotion.
Why the war on disco? What did disco do to you?
The genesis of it was my partner was working at a rock station that went disco, so he left, and then we got teamed up, and he was so angry that he started talking about it on the show, and he'd play a Bee Gees record, and then we'd take it off the turntable, if you know what those are, and break it on the air, and it started to get people excited, so we made that a bit, and then it just grew from there.
It's like if MousePlanet decided to be strictly universal tomorrow.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, you affected the teenagers in Queens very much from Chicago with that whole,
funny.
I'll swear.
Wasn't there a Mickey Mouse disco record at one time?
Everybody was putting out disco at that point. It was weird. Very weird time.
The Star Wars theme, of course.
Mecco? Was it Mecco?
Mecco, absolutely.
Mecco,
Very good.
Yes.
I think I still have that vinyl somewhere. Collecting dust.
Hey, we were all angry young men at one point. We just had to let out some steam. What are you going to do?
Right.
Oh, there it is.
Look at that.
Todd, you're a hero.
This was a promotion for D23 at a roller rink, so they re-released it.
No kidding.
Oh, wow.
The actual vinyl is in there?
Look at Mickey and Minnie are bumping there.
Wow. Okay.
Don't show it up to the screen. It might burn.
Yeah, don't want Barry to see it, for God's sake. Yeah, this was a roller disco party, and Mickey and Minnie came out in their disco finery, and they had a whole disco, roller, and people were dressed in 70s. It was pretty awesome. And MousePlanet got invited to it, and of course I own roller skates, so I was there.
You still own a turntable to play it?
I do. It's right next to my computer, because I have some old albums. Not too many, because cassettes came out with the Sony Walkman.
Hey, think about this, guys. If this happened prior to the internet and cell phones, what the climate would be at this point, 3-4 weeks into it, people they'd be rioting, right? Because you're sitting home, few TV channels. You're going to read a book every day? You're going to get on the landline? Really? What are you going to do?
And you couldn't afford a landline back in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
nothing to stream, no streaming.
Right. This gem couldn't have been born with Alan. I mean, come on. People would suffer.
Well, and if you think about it, back even when we were talking about disco demolition, back in the disco demolition days, we talked about picture phones, and we thought, ooh, how futuristic. And I mean, here not only are we using picture phones, but we're doing picture live streams for the other dozens of people who are watching us. And I mean, over the course of the next several days and weeks that this will sit on the server, more and more people will watch, and it's something that you couldn't fathom even 20 years ago. We sort of always said it was sci-fi. and here it is in our living rooms today.
By the way, Alan, sit on the server is a ride at Universal. You should try it.
And unfortunately, from time to time, like most servers, it crashes, right?
That's it. That's the thrill of it.
There was an old
Well, I'm going to
kids
check
show.
out, gentlemen.
Well, thank you for joining us so
Thank
much,
you,
Steve.
Steve.
Thanks for having me, Alan.
Nice talking to you. Nice meeting you.
It was great fun.
And hopefully we can have you on again on a longer format.
Yeah,
All right.
I would
Take
love
care,
to.
Steve.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. I'm going to go watch
See ya.
Carol.
All right.
Oh, is Carol's on now?
Well, I'm going to go back and look. She wasn't the last time I looked.
Okay.
Let me see. Who's missing from the screen? Somebody raise your hand. There we go. And I'll drop myself out and let Todd King go in, and I'll go check and see what the status of this of it is. Panda, you can go ahead and take the lead.
I was just saying, I remember the Great Space Coaster. An old kid show, if anybody remembers that.
Totally remember that.
Do you remember that? They had
Yeah.
a little machine that the guy would take out of his pocket and watch a cartoon on. And I remember saying, could you imagine if there was a little screen and you could just watch a cartoon? And now it's just amazing how amazing it was to me back then.
Or play
You tell
video
that-
games on one.
Yeah, you tell that to a 5-year-old now, and they look at you like you're from a million years ago.
They don't know what it was like to wait for a show. I remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory would wait all year to watch it.
Dick Tracy and his little smartwatch.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
two-way wrist TV.
Mhm.
They put that in the cartoon strip.
yep.
Yep.
I remember
It's
at
amazing.
Epcot at the World of Motion, there was a car that was a one-passenger one that looked like a little cockpit on 3 wheels called the
Yes,
Lean
yes, yes.
Machine, and it got 200 miles per gallon, and I was like, oh, that's the future, and we're still not there yet.
Yeah,
the
where's-
Jetsons.
Where's our hoverboard and our flying cars?
Soon. Actually, there are, if you go out there and see these vids of people, they've taken drones and put them on steroids, and they're riding them like air cars.
I saw that.
Yeah, there are guys out there that have made some prototype of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, cool. I see Carol on the other screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll just go round the robin, have everyone say goodbye. I'm going to start with Todd King. Todd, why don't you say your wishes to folks?
Oh, I hope everybody's well. May the force be with you.
Thank you, Todd. I'm dumping you to the green room.
See ya.
Chris Berry. Let me get Chris on the screen.
Hey,
It's all yours, Chris.
cool. And listen, I'm so glad that, you and I emailed or texted about this idea, last week and got it going. And I hope it keeps going. It's a lot of fun. And definitely let's do it longer next time. It was great talking to all you guys. Stay safe.
right.
Be well.
Thanks, Chris. And let's go to Mark, who is now on the screen.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I've done anything content-wise for MousePlanet, actually several years. So it's kind of nice to be back in this for a little while. Hopefully work will continue to end in time for me to participate in more of these, because this is fun. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Yep.
All right, let me go to Todd Pickering, who I've minimized a few too many times, but there he is. Todd?
That's okay. I don't mind you minimizing me. I got my ukulele out too, right?
Well, maybe I should mute that now, right?
Oh, come on, because you got a friend in me, oh yeah. You got a friend in MousePlanet.
All right, thank you, Todd.
Hi, everybody.
Bye. All right, and let's see. We got Panda and Gary left. Gary, I got you right in the middle. If you move over a little bit, you'll be in the center. There
Yeah,
we
you
go.
know what, Alan, our dog just jumped up on my lap here, so I was kind of. Can you want to say hello, Flynn? Wait, come on up. Don't pull the computer down. Come on, right here. Hey.
Hey, Flynn.
Anyway, Alan, thank you for the invite. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. Looking forward to your next report on my show.
Yeah, great. Thanks for coming on, Gary, and look forward to you doing some more live shows where we can take phone-ins from your listeners.
Yeah,
and we'll
wanna
talk
do it.
about all things. All right. Thanks, Gary. Hang on. We'll keep you in the green room. We'll be back with you in a moment. All right. And let me say goodbye. Let me put Panda on the screen. Oops, I took Panda off the screen. There we go.
Thanks, guys.
John
I
Pickering,
can't
thanks so much for
wait.
coming.
Thank you. I can't wait to do this again, and we got to see Carol. Stay safe. You can fly. Remember that.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank
And I put everyone in the green room because I think I can get Carol here on the screen because she is going full force. And I'm just going to say goodbye to everyone as I put Carol on the screen. And she will continue to play out her show right here on our channel. And if you want to comment directly to Carol, go to hers. It's facebook.com/carol.stein. And I'll run that across the bottom as it goes. But stay safe, everyone. Thanks for joining. And let's see if I can get this to come on the screen. There she is.
All my restless apprehensions seem to simply disappear. Looking around in total wonder, now believing I am here. Walt Disney World, where hopes and dreams come true. Walt Disney World, there's fantasy for me and you. Ever since I was a child, I'd wish upon that star. Walt Disney World, here you are. Walking down on Main Street, music's everywhere. People laughing, photographing, there is magic in the air. Ready for adventure, listening to that big brass band. Carousels and teacup rides, happiness in every land. Walt Disney World, where hopes and dreams come true. Walt Disney World, there's fantasy for me and you. Ever since I was a child, I'd wish upon that star. Walt Disney World, here you are. There's a jungle expedition, you can hear a lion roar. See a yeti or a tiger, on a banshee you can soar. Sail away to frozen lands, talk with a turtle in the sea. Meet a pirate or a princess, dreams become reality. Walt Disney World, where hopes and dreams come true. Walt Disney World, there's fantasy for me and you. Ever since I was a child, I'd wish upon that star. Walt Disney World, here you are. Walt Disney World, where dreams that all come true. Walt Disney World, there's fantasy for me and you. Ever since I was a child, I'd wish upon that star. Walt Disney World, here you are. Oh, Walt Disney World. Thank you. The dummy, no, they're not dummies, they're figures. I have a room full of about, 20, 25 of these ventriloquist figures, and they're my audience tonight. And it makes me so happy. And it makes me happy seeing all of you there. Hi, guys.